Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Micro-level in discourse analysis. Micro-level discourse analysis focuses on the detailed examination of specific language use in everyday interactions. It is concerned with the ways in which individuals use language in specific contexts, such as conversations, interviews, or written texts. This level of analysis looks at the nuances of communication, including word choice, sentence structure, tone, and nonverbal cues, to understand how meaning is constructed, how social identities are negotiated, and how power is exercised in moment-to-moment interactions. 1. Key concepts of micro-level discourse analysis. Conversation analysis. Examining the structure of talk. Conversation analysis, CA, is a key approach within micro-level discourse analysis that focuses on the structure and organization of spoken interactions. CA examines how conversations are organized, how speakers take turns, and how meaning is negotiated in real time. Turn-taking. This refers to how speakers manage their contributions in a conversation. Turn-taking rules dictate who speaks when and how turns are exchanged. Adjacency pairs. These are pairs of utterances, such as a question and answer or greeting and response, that are expected to occur together in conversation. Repair mechanisms. These are strategies used by speakers to correct misunderstandings or errors in conversation, such as rephrasing or clarifying a statement. Example. In a phone conversation, one person says, "Hello," and the other responds with, "Hi, this is John." This exchange is an adjacency pair where the first speaker's greeting is met with an appropriate response, maintaining the flow of the conversation. Speech acts. Actions performed through language. At the micro level, discourse analysis often examines speech acts, which are the actions performed by speakers when they make statements, ask questions, give commands, or make promises. Speech act theory, developed by philosophers like J. L. Austin and John Searle, categorizes these actions into different types. Locutionary acts, the actual utterance and its literal meaning. Illocutionary acts, the intended meaning or function of the utterance, such as making a request, offering an apology, or issuing a command. Perlocutionary acts, the effect the utterance has on the listener, such as persuading, frightening, or amusing them. Example. If someone says, "Could you pass the salt?" during dinner, the locutionary act is the literal request for salt. The illocutionary act is the polite request, and the perlocutionary act might be that the listener feels compelled to pass the salt. Politeness strategies. Managing social relationships through language. Politeness theory, developed by Penelope Brown and Stephen Levinson, is a key concept in micro-level discourse analysis that examines how individuals use language to manage social relationships. Politeness strategies are ways in which speakers mitigate face-threatening acts, maintain social harmony, and show respect. Positive politeness. Strategies that seek to build rapport and show friendliness, such as complimenting or showing interest in the listener's needs. Negative politeness. Strategies that aim to show respect and avoid imposition, such as using indirect language or apologizing for a request. Face-threatening acts. Actions that might threaten the self-esteem or social standing of either the speaker or listener, such as criticism or requests. Example. When asking for a favor, someone might say, "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you help me with this task?" This statement uses negative politeness by acknowledging the imposition and apologizing for it, which helps to mitigate any potential discomfort. Identity construction. How language shapes and reflects identity. At the micro level, discourse analysis examines how individuals use language to construct and negotiate their identities in specific interactions. This involves looking at how people present themselves, align with or distance themselves from certain groups, and manage their social roles through language. Code switching. The practice of shifting between different languages or dialects depending on the social context, which can reflect different aspects of identity. Positioning. The way speakers position themselves and others in conversation, often reflecting power dynamics, roles, and relationships. Self-presentation. The ways in which individuals use language to present themselves in a particular light, such as emphasizing certain aspects of their identity or downplaying others. Example: a bilingual person might switch between English and Spanish in different contexts to align with different social groups. They might use English in a formal work setting but switch to Spanish when speaking with family, reflecting different aspects of their identity in each context. Contextualization cues. How context shapes meaning. Contextualization cues are subtle signals that speakers use to indicate how their messages should be understood. These cues can be linguistic, e.g., tone, word choice, or nonverbal, e.g., gestures, facial expressions, and are essential for interpreting meaning in interaction. Paralanguage. Nonverbal elements of communication, such as intonation, pitch, and volume, that influence how a message is interpreted. Prosody. The rhythm, stress, and intonation of speech that convey information about the speaker's attitude or emotional state. Gestures and body language. Nonverbal cues that accompany speech and provide additional context, such as nodding to indicate agreement or crossing arms to show defensiveness. Example: in a sarcastic remark like, "Oh, great job," the speaker's tone, facial expression, and emphasis on certain words signal that the statement is not sincere. These contextualization cues are crucial for the listener to interpret the meaning correctly. Point 2. Examples of micro-level discourse analysis in various contexts. Example 1. Analyzing a job interview. The role of language in professional settings. In a job interview, micro-level discourse analysis might focus on how the interviewer and interviewee use language to manage the interaction, establish rapport, and convey competence. Turn-taking and interruptions. Analyzing how the interviewee manages turn-taking, whether they interrupt or allow the interviewer to lead the conversation, can reveal their conversational style and how it impacts the interaction. Politeness strategies. The interviewee might use positive politeness by expressing enthusiasm for the company or negative politeness by showing deference to the interviewer's authority. Example: if the interviewee frequently uses phrases like, "That's a great question," before answering, this might be a strategy to buy time to think while also building rapport with the interviewer through positive politeness. Example 2. Conversation in a classroom. Teacher-student interactions. In a classroom setting, micro-level discourse analysis can examine how teachers and students use language to facilitate learning, manage behavior, and negotiate classroom dynamics. Initiation-response feedback (IRF) structure. A common pattern in classroom talk where the teacher initiates a question, the student responds, and the teacher provides feedback. Power dynamics. Analyzing how teachers use language to assert authority or how students use language to challenge or comply with that authority. Example: when a teacher asks, "What is the capital of France?" and a student responds with, "Paris," followed by the teacher saying, "Correct. Well done." This is an example of the IRF structure. This pattern reinforces the teacher's role as the knowledge provider and the student's role as the learner. Example 3. Customer service interaction. Language use in service encounters. In customer service interactions, micro-level discourse analysis can reveal how language is used to manage expectations, resolve conflicts, and ensure customer satisfaction. Speech acts. The customer service representative might use speech acts like offering help, apologizing for inconvenience, or assuring the customer of a solution. Politeness strategies. Representatives often use politeness strategies to maintain a positive relationship with the customer, such as addressing them by name or using phrases like, "Thank you for your patience." Example: a customer service representative might say, "I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. Let me see what I can do to resolve this issue for you." This combines an apology, negative politeness, with an assurance of action, aiming to mitigate any frustration and maintain customer satisfaction. Example 4. Family dinner conversation. Everyday interactions. Micro-level discourse analysis can also be applied to informal, everyday interactions, such as conversations at a family dinner. This analysis might focus on how family members negotiate roles, manage conflicts, or share experiences through language. Turn-taking. Analyzing how family members manage turns in conversation, who speaks when, and how interruptions are handled can reveal the dynamics of the group. Identity construction. Family members might use language to reinforce their roles within the family, such as a parent giving advice or a child seeking approval. Example: if a parent says, "You should really focus on your studies," and the child responds with, "I know, I will." This exchange reflects the parent's role as a guide and the child's role as a learner, with the child using language to show agreement and avoid conflict. Example 5. Social media interaction. Digital communication. In social media interactions, micro-level discourse analysis can explore how users communicate, build relationships, and present their identities online. This includes analyzing the use of language, emojis, hashtags, and other features unique to digital communication. Hashtags and emojis. These elements can serve as contextualization cues, signaling the tone or intention behind a message. Identity presentation. Users often craft their online identity through the careful selection of words, images, and interactions. Example: a tweet that says, "Had the best day ever." Hashtag blessed smile. Uses hashtags and emojis to convey a positive emotion and to connect the post with a broader discourse of gratitude and positivity. This combination of text and symbols helps to reinforce the user's desired online persona. Conclusion. Micro-level discourse analysis provides a detailed examination of how language is used in specific interactions and contexts. By focusing on the nuances of communication, such as turn-taking, speech acts, politeness strategies, identity construction, and contextualization cues, this approach helps us understand how meaning is constructed, relationships are managed, and social roles are negotiated in everyday life. Whether in professional settings, educational environments, customer service interactions, or casual conversations, micro-level discourse analysis reveals the intricate ways in which language functions to shape human interaction and social experience. Frequently asked questions. What is micro-level discourse analysis? Micro-level discourse analysis focuses on the detailed examination of language use in specific interactions, such as conversations, interviews, or written texts. It looks at the nuances of communication, like word choice, sentence structure, tone, and nonverbal cues, to understand how meaning is constructed and how social identities and power dynamics are negotiated in real time. How does micro-level analysis differ from meso- and macro-level analysis? Micro-level analysis focuses on individual interactions and the minute details of language use. Meso-level analysis looks at language within specific organizations or communities, connecting individual interactions to institutional practices. Macro-level analysis examines how discourse shapes and is shaped by broader societal structures and ideologies. What is conversation analysis, CA, in micro-level discourse analysis? Conversation analysis, CA, is a method within micro-level discourse analysis that examines the structure and organization of spoken interactions. It explores how conversations are organized, how speakers take turns, and how meaning is negotiated through mechanisms like turn-taking, adjacency pairs, and repair strategies. What are speech acts in micro-level discourse analysis? Speech acts are the actions performed by speakers through language, such as making statements, asking questions, giving commands, or making promises. Micro-level discourse analysis examines how these acts function in communication, focusing on the literal meaning, locutionary acts, intended meaning, illocutionary acts, and the effect on the listener, perlocutionary acts. How are politeness strategies analyzed at the micro-level? Politeness strategies are ways in which speakers use language to manage social relationships and avoid conflict. Micro-level analysis examines how positive politeness, building rapport, and negative politeness, avoiding imposition, are used to maintain social harmony and show respect in interactions. What role does identity construction play in micro-level discourse analysis? Identity construction at the micro-level involves examining how individuals use language to present and negotiate their identities in specific interactions. This includes practices like code switching, positioning, and self-presentation, where language reflects different aspects of a person's identity based on the social context. Can you explain contextualization cues in micro-level discourse analysis? Contextualization cues are subtle signals that speakers use to indicate how their messages should be interpreted. These cues can be linguistic, e.g., tone, word choice, or nonverbal, e.g., gestures, facial expressions, and are essential for understanding the intended meaning in communication. How is micro-level discourse analysis applied in a job interview? In a job interview, micro-level discourse analysis might focus on how the interviewee manages turn-taking, uses politeness strategies, and presents their identity. For example, an interviewee might use positive politeness by expressing enthusiasm for the company or managing turn-taking to avoid interrupting the interviewer. What is the significance of micro-level discourse analysis in a classroom setting? In a classroom, micro-level discourse analysis can reveal how teachers and students use language to facilitate learning, manage behavior, and establish classroom dynamics. For instance, analyzing the initiation-response feedback (IRF) structure can show how knowledge is conveyed and authority is maintained. How does micro-level discourse analysis apply to customer service interactions? In customer service, micro-level discourse analysis examines how language is used to manage expectations, resolve conflicts, and ensure customer satisfaction. This includes analyzing speech acts like apologizing or offering help, and politeness strategies that maintain a positive relationship with the customer. Can you provide an example of micro-level discourse analysis in a family dinner conversation? At a family dinner, micro-level discourse analysis might focus on how family members manage turn-taking, reinforce roles, or negotiate conflicts. For example, analyzing how a parent gives advice and how a child responds can reveal the dynamics of guidance and compliance within the family. How is micro-level discourse analysis used in social media interactions? In social media interactions, micro-level discourse analysis looks at how users communicate and present their identities online. This includes the use of language, emojis, hashtags, and other digital features that convey tone and meaning, shaping how users engage with each other and construct their online personas. Why is micro-level discourse analysis important? Micro-level discourse analysis is important because it provides insights into how meaning is constructed, social roles are negotiated, and power dynamics are exercised in everyday interactions. It reveals the subtle ways in which language shapes human communication, offering a deeper understanding of how we interact in various social contexts. How does micro-level discourse analysis contribute to understanding social interaction? Micro-level discourse analysis contributes to understanding social interaction by examining the minute details of communication that influence how people relate to each other. It shows how language use in specific contexts can reflect and reinforce social identities, relationships, and power dynamics, helping us understand the complexities of human interaction.